Hey, Troy here with Shively Luxury Living, located in the Tampa area, with your pro tip. If you are a buyer, you are a seller, something that you are going to have to deal with is home inspections. Now, if you are the buyer, when you submit your offer to the seller, within that offer, you're going to come to an agreement on the number of days in which you are going to be allowed to do your inspections. Now, with that, you have to complete all inspections that are needed on that property. You have to be able to have time to review those results and then submit any kind of addendums or things of that nature, all within that inspection period. Typically, we ask for 10 days and we have no problem completing as many inspections that are needed during that time. So the first thing that you're going to be looking at doing is the home inspection. You're going to hire a home inspector. That is going to cost you somewhere between maybe $500 and $1,000. And with that, he is going to give you a full inspection report. This thing may be 30 to 50 pages in length. He's going to look at the caulking around the tub and the windows. He's going to look at plumbing, electrical, all of these things throughout the house. He's going to test all your appliances. He's going to check, make sure cool air is coming out of your AC. And he's going to go through all of this and then give you one full report. He is also going to give you, or she is going to give you, a wind mitigation report. Now, this is needed for your homeowner's insurance, and your lender is going to want this. What it is it is going to be a report stating how well that property is able to handle high velocity winds. So most certainly a big aspect of that report is the roof. The final report is your 4-point. Now, if you're doing an FHA loan, this is going to be required, but it's going to be a report. It's going to talk about the plumbing, the roof, the electrical, as well as the HVAC system. So that is your 4-point. So you're going to have all these reports that you need to review. If you find something that absolutely has to be repaired or replaced, then you have to submit an addendum, and the seller has to agree to do that. The seller does not have to agree to repair or replace. But then at that time, you have the option of deciding whether to move forward with the contract or not. Now, additional inspections that you may have to come across is like right behind me, a pool inspection. Now, my home inspector is able to also do pools. So he's going to look around, make sure there's no major cracks in the pool. He's going to look, make sure the system is all working properly. If there is a heater, he's going to make sure the heater is working properly. So that's all a part of your pool inspection. Not a bad thing to do if you're buying a pool, because to be able to repair pools, especially if there's a crack in it, can cost you thousands of dollars. So you want to make sure you have that pool inspected. Now, another thing that's going to be a part of inspections is if the property has a septic as well as a well. Those are two more inspections that you're going to have. With a septic inspection, what's going to have to happen is there's two parts of that inspection. There is a tank, and then there is the drainage field. So you need to hire a septic company that's going to come out and pump out everything that's in that tank, and then be able to inspect that tank. And then what they are going to do is, actually, before they pump out the tank, they're going to have all the water running in the property. I mean, every faucet in the house running, because they need to be able to check how well the flow, because within that tank, there are openings. And those openings are tubes that funnel out to the drainage field. They need to be able to make sure that they see movement of liquid going through those tubes. Now, if you have a tube, and there may be 2 or 3 of these that are exiting the septic tank, and if they find that 1 or 2 of them are not showing any movement of fluid through them, that means you have an issue with your drainage field, and that can be incredibly expensive. It could easily be a $10,000 to $15,000 repair. So it's something you want to make sure you absolutely have a really good inspector that's looking at your septic. Now, when it comes to the well, Once again, you have two parts of a well inspection. You have the mechanics of the well. So you need to hire a well company to come out and look at the actual mechanics of the well, especially the wiring, and make sure everything is functioning properly. The other aspect of a well inspection is the water test. We typically use Culligan to do all of our water tests, and they're going to be looking for chloroform bacteria, lead, arsenic, things of that nature that might be in the water. So they're going to come out, they're going to take a sample right from the well, and within 3 to 4 days, you're going to get the results. So that absolutely, if you have a well, that needs to be one of the very first inspections done, so you have plenty of time to get the results. Now with that, if something does come up, typically they are able to shock the well. The shock burns off within about 6 to 8 hours. They'll come out the next day and do another water test. And on all the wells we have ever done, and we have done a lot of well inspections, and we've had a few that had to be shocked. The next day, the water came out absolutely pure with no issues on the water test. Now, another thing that could occur is mold, especially if your home inspector, as he's going around, realizes that there's maybe moisture inside of walls, that he saw a sign, he put his moisture reader to the wall, and it showed a high level of moisture in that particular area. Then you're going to want to hire a mold inspector to come out. They are going to sample the air, as well as they're going to do physical samples, possibly even having to drill a very small hole into the wall itself and do some samples from within. Then once again, you need 3 to 4 days. It is not uncommon though, if something comes up, you can ask for an extension to your inspection period. And you can ask for an additional 3 to 4 days if something comes up and there's additional inspections that are then going to have to be added to that. Now, on top of mold, there is also wood destroying organisms. We call them WDO inspections. If you are a veteran and you're doing a VA loan, this is a required inspection for you. So what are we looking at? We're looking at termites, or subterranean termites. We're looking for drywood termites. We're looking for what's called powder post beetles, as well as old house beetles. They are also wood destroying organisms. We're looking at fungi and rot, carpenter ants or carpenter bees. All of those things can have an effect on the wood structure of the property. So you need to have a good WDO inspector to come in and check all that out, especially if you are a VA. As far as what we do when it comes to WDOs for non-VA loans or non-VA customers is dependent upon what our inspector says. So if our inspector sees something that does cause him to have some concern, then we will order the WDO and have that person come out to do it. Now, finally, the last thing that may happen is what we call structural or foundational inspections. Now, these have to be done by an engineer. If you are buying a mobile home, most likely your lender is going to require you to do a structural inspection by an engineer for most mobile homes. Outside of that, what's happening is if your home inspector found cracks or other signs that there may be a structural or a foundational issue, that home inspector is going to tell you, I think you need to hire a engineer and do a structural or foundational inspection of this property. Now with that, you may need to extend the inspection period for a couple weeks in order to get that completed and get the results back. That can be very significant, because if they do find that there is a sinkhole issue, that can cost $70,000, $80,000 on the repair of that. So it's something that needs to be taken very serious if your home inspector found something. Now, if there is an issue like that and the house needs to be remediated for, let's say, a sinkhole, That is not uncommon in this area. In fact, I have never seen a house that was remediated that ever had issues afterwards. I've gone through the process with a homeowner from beginning to end of the entire remediation process and watched them pump almost 40 truckloads of cement under that house. Uh, and they typically in this area, they do what's called grouting, where they will drill holes anywhere from maybe 5 foot deep to as deep as maybe 40 or 50 foot deep, and under high pressure pump cement underneath through those holes in which they drilled. And it firms up the house. And I've never seen an issue with any house that has had that properly done. Now, with that, you have to make sure that if you've had a house remediated, you do have to disclose that if you're a seller. So make sure you keep all that paperwork, because any new buyer will need the entire engineering report. That could be 50 to 250 pages in length. But any new buyer will have to have that engineering report in order to obtain homeowners insurance on that property. So hopefully this helps. There's a lot of different inspections that can be done on your house, but you want to make sure the house you are buying doesn't have any problems. And if there are, that you have them taken care of prior to purchasing. I hope this helps. As always, again, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it.